All right. Hey,
Okay.
here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. I knew we'd get there.
So sorry for the delay. You know how tech is.
Comedy of errors. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 249. Your once weekly live here for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
Tech news. I'm Steve.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night, or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. You can also catch clips of the show over on my second channel, Craft Extra. Go check out the link down below and subscribe. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are right on the air, so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat, and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is also down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server. You can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and take part in the awesome community that hangs out over there.
And they do hang out.
They do hang out.
They do hang out.
Yes.
I mean, all kinds of things hanging out over there.
Whew, let it all hang out.
All kinds of hanging.
How's it going, Steve?
It's going good. It was a little hectic getting this all set up.
Yep.
Got a new camera, got a new mic. Still got the same old headset for sound, but working on it. Hopefully this looks better than it did last time I was on.
I think it did. Do you have it on the arm by any chance? See if you can bring it closer. We'll see if we can cut some of that echo out.
Oh, I do
on the
have
mic
it on the arm.
Okay.
Right there. How's that? A little better?
A lot better, yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, I gave Steve a new mic, and so we're and a new camera, so we're testing out the waters with some new gear.
Gotta work on the lighting and everything like that. I look a little red, but
yeah,
what am I not a little red?
Right. We'll figure it out.
Anyway,
it's gonna be a good show. It's gonna be a busy show. Holy crap!
Yes,
there some news?
A lot of stuff to talk about. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and start off the show the best way we know how. Steve, what do you got on tap tonight?
Okay, today I got from one of my favorites, and a Pacific Northwest favorite, Great Notion, we have the Augie, which is a 7% hazy IPA, which it doesn't say exactly which hops are in here, but Great Notion always makes really good hazies, so I'm positive this is going to be good. I looked it up on Untapped. It was a 4.2, I believe, or 4.17, something close to that.
Nice.
And I have a from Zogelhouse, because I kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit because I'm kind of burnt out in IPAs. This is a collab from Zogelhouse and Wayfinder, deconcocted Dunkelweizen.
Deconcocted?
So, decocted. Not decocted. I don't know. It's a Dunkelweizen. It's a German beer, so a good change of pace. This was rated pretty high too, so I decided to grab it.
Very cool.
And just in case, if I'm super thirsty, just an old standby, the Alphadelic IPA by Hop Valley.
That is an excellent standby if ever there was
It
one.
is an excellent Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I usually go Hop Valley Cryo Stash. That's usually I've usually got a 12-pack of that around.
Yeah, I like Cryo Stash, and I would have grabbed that, but I drank it all. So
understandable. Let's see. I've got a couple that I have not tried before. One of them is from Noctum Artisan Breweries, or Brasseurs, something like that. This is a beer from Quebec, from Canada.
Nice.
This was sent in. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name now. Adam, I think. I think it's Adam. This is the Double Catnip IPA.
Oh, nice. I love the can.
I love the can art on this one. It is absolutely
really
fantastic. So I've not had this one, and again, Adam, thank you. I hope it was Adam. Sorry, I got like 4 beer packages lately, so it's kind of hard to keep them all straight. This one I saw in the store recently. It's a new one from Two Town Cider House over in Bend. And this is the Dragon's Day Off. It's a tropical dragon fruit cider, 5.2%.
Ooh,
so
that sounds. I've had a dragon fruit cider from Atlas, and that one's really good too.
Oh yes, yeah. No, Atlas makes good stuff.
Yeah, no, I had a friend who was doing some work, and he was doing some work at some bar that was like closing down, and they had a bunch of leftover stuff, and he's Mormon, so he doesn't drink, and so I guess the guy gave him like this whole giant box of cider. And He's like, I don't drink. You can have it. And so that's what got this Atlas cider in there. That's where they had the dragon fruit one in there, and they had like a apple cinnamon one in there. They had all different kinds of flavors, and they're all pretty good.
Nice.
So
very cool. We do have a couple pre-show super chats. Kren chimes in with his usual 5 Aussie bucks. Good day.
Good day.
How's it going, Kren? And then Cosworth chimes in with $2 at you, Steve. Pitter patter bud.
That's right. Yes, I know. I got a pitter patter. Let's get at her.
Yep. I think I'm going to start with the cider. I think that one is going to be a little bit better cold. So we'll crack that open.
I'm gonna do. I'll do the IPA or Dunkelweizen first.
Ooh. I'd almost go Dunkel first if it was me.
I'm gonna go Dunkel first. Yeah. I'm leaning towards Dunkel.
So very, very bright red.
I would show you what this looks like, but I got a skull here, so it's not.
Again, drinking from the skull of your enemies.
Yep, exactly.
You should see the other devil chicken.
That's right.
We do have a couple of people chiming in with some beers that they're drinking. Beverage in hand, New Belgium Voodoo Ranger. That's from Sean. We've got Novella Hub with an Alchemist from Heavy Topper. There we go. I actually almost pulled that one out of my fridge. I have one of those on standby. Brian's got a Knob Creek 12 neat. Excellent choice. Nice. Michael's got an Elysian Space Dust. That's always a good one. Let's see. And we'll do 2 more. Rom's got a coffee because Rom's got to work, yo.
Yeah.
And Brett is drinking a Balvenie Doublewood 12-year Scotch.
Wow.
Nice.
All these 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's a good thing it's kid-friendly. All these 12-year-olds on here.
And Elmas chimes in with 1,000 yen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oyagazuma? I think I pronounced that close. I have a couple friends who do speak Japanese. Anyway, says, good morning. Just drinking coffee since I'm still stuck in Japan. Well, good morning.
There you go.
And Alice chimes in with $5. Boy, the super chats keep rolling in. We're gonna not get to any news.
Look at that.
Not that I'm complaining, by the way.
Yeah.
Alice chimes in with $5. Thank you, Alice. Decoction is a traditional German brewing technique in which a portion of the mash is boiled in order to heat the rest of the mash.
Okay.
So it's halfway between distilling. It's heat fermenting.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't know what that word was.
Yeah, you bring it to a light boil. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It's a reduction of the mass. Or the mash, excuse me. Cool. Now we know the German word for it. All right. Usually we banter for like 15 minutes before we actually get into things.
Right.
There's so much on the plate today, we're going to dive right in, even though it's already 6:20.
Yeah.
So, for those who use Plex servers, Plex has announced that they suffered a breach this last week. A third party accessed, quote, a limited subset of data that includes emails, usernames, and encrypted passwords. The good news about this is they were hashing their passwords, and the encryption key was not stolen. But they did get emails and usernames that are associated with your Plex account. That's usually not the worst. Like, if a service is going to be breached, Plex is one of the last ones that I would really be concerned about. Right. Compromising me financially or something like that. And so as far as services go, it's still a breach, but it's not, it's not Target gave up 2.3 billion credit card numbers again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, standard procedure applies. Reset your passwords, rotate your passwords even better, and make sure that you log out of all of your existing devices. In fact, Plex has the option, if you log into their website, plex.tv, log in with your account, you can change your password and then force a logout for all devices that remember your password automatically. So you'll have to go and sign back into everything, but your password will be completely changed.
Right. Yeah.
So that is definitely the way to do it. Good on Plex for handling this as quickly as they did.
Getting ahead of it was great.
Yeah, this is the way you disclose a breach, because breaches happen. It's a part of doing business on the internet anymore. You're going to be a target no matter how big or small you are, or maybe someone just downloaded something and partially gave away a list, or they sent a spreadsheet with some information on it, or they were doing a database transfer and it went through a third party. Those are all considered breaches. It doesn't necessarily have to be black hats, hacking into the matrix. But
that could be true. Yeah.
Right. But they discovered this last week and then they alerted us today. And so 5 days was all it took from breach to remediation to disclosure. That's the way you handle things. So good on you, Plex, and keep your passwords safe out there, everyone.
Oh yeah, I switched mine already.
Yep.
I told everybody who share accounts with me. Yep. I gave them the updated password. I only have 2 people.
Share accounts? Okay. What? I don't understand. Yeah. Within your house, right? Like you let your wife know that password change.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Ooh. Wow. That is quite good. It took me by surprise. I was just like, it's a cider. I'll drink it. That's quite good. It's almost got like this deep, rich pie cherry kind of tartness to it. Yeah. Tropical, obviously dragon fruit. The dragon fruit's there, but like I said, as far as tartness goes, it kind of bites the back of your tongue just a little bit to let you know it's there. I like it. This is a good one.
Yeah. No, this dunkel is actually it's probably one of the best dunkels I've had. It's not, because I've had some that were kind of like overly roasty. Mm-hmm. This one's just slightly roasty, and it kind of has that banana esters at the end and everything like that. Just a little bit, kind of like how some Hefeweizens are and how some Belgians are. It's kind of got that slight esters in the end. It's really good. Good spice esters.
Yeah, that allspice, a little bit of banana. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh, it's really good.
It's been a while since I've had a pace, It's been a while since I've had a good dunkel. I need to go find one.
Yeah, try that one then if you can find it. Yep. Kaiser Liquor Store.
Yep. Ooh. I'll swing by.
Yeah.
I mean, I drove by it today. Come on.
I know. That's why I went there.
Next up, Apple has made some announcements to their self-repair program. And normally I don't like sharing Verge articles. I tried to find another source to it, but Verge actually did some decent journalism, which is kind of a shock, as they're just kind of a... They don't do a lot of journalism these days. But they went through and they found all of the Apple repair manuals, and they itemized the price for each component inside some of the more recent MacBooks. Apple, in part of their announcement, has made available replacement parts for all of their M1 MacBooks, M1 powered MacBooks. So you've got the original M1 MacBook Air and MacBook Pro from 2020. You've got the Mac Mini. You've also got the 14-inch MacBook Pros that just came out, 14 and 16s. And Apple released a not only full parts list for all of the different configurations, they also have a complete teardown and blown up disassembly guide for which screw goes where. As much as I don't like it, I give kudos to Apple for at least this is the disassembly. This is it all blown out. Here's all the parts, here's all the screws, here's where they go, here's how you use them. I will give Apple kudos for that. I'm not letting them off the hook, though, because again, my suspicion is that Apple is doing just enough to keep regulators from enforcing right to repair in law. And we all know that, was it New York or Massachusetts? I think it was Massachusetts, passed a right to repair bill that Apple now has to abide by to do business in the state of Massachusetts. It was one of those two. But what Apple doesn't want to happen is that law to take play or to be put on the books in California or New York or something like that, because then it becomes a global issue. Because as California goes, usually go national policy. It's the way the states work. Anyway, they expanded their self-service program. Oops. As I close the window instead of clicking it. So let's take a look at, this is straight off Apple's website. This is support.apple.com. And here we can see repair manuals for a lot of current products. Mac Studio 2022, MacBook Air M2 2022. We've got iPhones on here. We've got the MacBook Air M1. This is my laptop. This is the 2020 M1 13-inch MacBook Pro. Let's take a look at that repair manual. Loads up in a PDF. No login necessary. So far, so good. Let's scroll down just a little bit here. So here is the full blown up disassembly part by part guide. This is every screw, every hinge, every component that is inside a MacBook Pro. There's only 24 parts. That's all there is. Yeah. Because everything else is soldered to the board. So there's complaint number one. And if we go down here, we can see the logic board options. You've got your M1, 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU, 8 gigabytes, and 256 gigs of DDR memory. Unified system memory. In my opinion, those should never be soldered to anything, because those are both easily user upgradable, standardized, and if they die, they're the cheapest components inside your PC to replace. So Apple needs to separate storage and memory. They won't, but they need to.
They won't.
Secondly, you can see...
If it dies, they can't sell you another one that way.
Right. Yeah. Secondly, you can see all of these different configuration options, starting from the base 8-core GPU, 8 gigs of RAM, and 256 storage. That's actually the model that I purchased. I purchased the base model because I didn't need that much local storage, and 8 gigs of RAM is more than fine for running OBS and a couple of things that I do remotely. Cool. However, I could have upgraded all the way to the 16 gig and 2 terabyte internal storage model. Okay? Let's remember that. Let's go back a couple pages. Go back to The Verge. Now, if we go to this website, which is not on Apple's website, but this is an Apple-hosted site, selfservicerepair.com. Here, you can select what product you have. So let's say the logic board in my MacBook Pro died. Okay? I'm going to select Mac. If I select my MacBook Pro 13-inch M1 2020, hey, there it is. Now you need to enter your serial number. You can't just order a part, which means if you're a dealer, you have to do this one by one per customer. You can't have a logic board on the shelf to swap in for a customer same day. Also, I typed mine in earlier, and it doesn't seem like I could order an upgraded motherboard. I can only order the original parts that shipped with my laptop. even though it's the same physical thing and they change a couple of chips out with more RAM and or more storage, the model you bought is the model you can buy. You cannot do anything else.
Now, do you have to register your serial number in order to have that associated with you in order to buy parts? Because you can get leaked serial numbers out there for all different configurations out there, and you just punch them in and order away whatever you want.
Let's zoom in a little bit. The serial number is required and will be shared with Apple. This number must be from the device that is being repaired, or you may encounter issues that prevent the completion of the repair. Part of this is probably Apple is going to take note of the devices that have been repaired and stop multiple repairs per device. Number two, they are actually charging core charges to refund or to ship your part back, very similar to like a car battery.
Right.
Which means the logic boards for the M1 MacBook Pro from 2020 start at $859. So if I go back here, let's look at the M1 MacBook Pro from 2020. We can find a display will cost $527 because it is a fused glass LCD assembly. If we scroll down, logic board starts at $790. They're charging over or almost $300 for a core charge for you to return your logic board as faulty. $499.84 after your core charge credit. $800 for a logic board for a laptop that was $1,100 brand new almost 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
Does that not make sense to anyone else?
No, it doesn't, because you could probably find a used one at that point for that much.
Right. So
I mean, I guess they're opening it up, and that's kind of good, but they're kind of still doing some shady stuff. It's not exactly super easy to use, and they're putting restrictions on it and
now the
charging
other piece,
an arm and a leg.
Now the other piece to this is, remember the T1 chip, the T1 and the T2 encoding chips, which are the security chips that handle the information passing between, like the fingerprint power button and the logic board itself. So all of the encryption is done on the touch controller, on the Touch ID board. That is then transmitted to the T1 chip, and there's a handshake that has to take place both between the T1 and the fingerprint sensor. If they don't match up, that button doesn't work.
Not going to work, yeah.
What do you think that Apple would do if you bought a motherboard from a third party? You have to register the serial number with them so they can encode the T2 chip themselves, so your Touch ID button will work. You cannot go to a non-authorized repair. You can either do it yourself, or you can send it to Apple. And it's the same price either way. That's not an option. That's a crap option. The whole point to right to repair is that the repair industry is open. It's an open book, and you can compete within the market. Apple, once I buy a product from you, you don't own it anymore. I get to decide what I do with it.
Yeah.
And as a manufacturer of consumer electronics, or most goods and services for that matter, you should be required to provide replacement parts for X number of years. I don't know what that is. That's probably beyond my pay grade, but I would say probably 3 to 4 years would be pretty reasonable.
At least, yeah.
For laptops and things like that.
Yeah.
You know. So, don't drop the right to repair issue. Don't think it's going away because, oh look, Apple's selling parts now, and they itemize them all, and it's still exorbitant. It's still first party only. They are cutting out third party repair. You have to do it yourself, and the prices are beyond ridiculous.
Yeah.
$600 almost for an LCD screen.
Are you surprised really with Apple? Come on. I mean,
am I surprised?
They always charge.
No.
No, but I mean, it's still ridiculous. I mean, yes, I agree.
So,
but not surprising. Not surprising though.
So yeah, if I do one thing on this channel, it is promote right to repair. Because what happened if NVIDIA locked down these enterprise cards? What happens if AMD and their epic motherboard tie-ins with Dell and HP and their fusible buses and things? That's BS too. So I'm an anti-e-waste. You can call me a dumpster diver. That's totally fine. Hackers have been called worse. But, I mean, a third of my server content, if not 2/3 of my server content, is used equipment. What if all this equipment was locked out to third parties, was closed source? That's what Apple does.
Yeah, and that's not good.
No. Anyway, we do have another super chat from Tech Geek. Thank you very much, my friend. $50 coming my way. Evening, gents. Fired Monday from my IT job for some BS. A select few were looking for a reason to make me look bad. My old supervisor said if it were up to her, it wouldn't have happened. Honestly, not even mad. It was super stressful there. You know, sometimes that can... sometimes the door's open for us, you know? So... hope it all works out for you. Hope you're able to land on your feet and job hunting goes well. But yeah, I understand management and cultural shifts and no longer welcome, and I get it.
Yeah, especially if it's a stress-filled job. I'm sure there's more of a relief.
Yeah.
Now, and also, if he was let go, meaning he was laid off, I don't know if there was a severance package. Sometimes that's nice. You could take a couple weeks off. It's like a vacation, isn't it?
Take a month looking for another sabbatical.
Yeah.
I almost said spagatical.
Spagatical.
I cannot put letters in the... I'm dyslexic, but mouth today.
No. That's fine. It's where you take a month to just eat spaghetti. It's a spagatical.
Spagatical.
It's a spagatical.
All right. Let's see. This one is hilarious. This story is absolutely hilarious. Did you get a chance to read this article, Steve?
I did not. I saw that we had a whole bunch, and I was so busy trying to get this camera to work right. I didn't get a chance to read anything.
Okay. So, this is an official CVE. So this has been issued an actual ticket and bug report by an unknown PC manufacturer. Okay? The bug is that old laptops will spontaneously die when exposed to Janet Jackson. Okay? That's the title. That's the title. And I went, well, that's really stupid. Like, why? We scroll down.
Janet Jackson doing the exposing.
Yeah. So, certain OEM laptop drives, 5400 RPM laptop drives, singled out by a single OEM PC manufacturer, can allegedly be forced to crash when exposed to Janet Jackson's 1989 Rhythm Nation. It's not just Janet Jackson, it's one song.
Rhythm Nation.
It's Rhythm Nation.
Rhythm Nation.
So, this was disclosed by a Microsoft software engineer named Raymond Chen in a blog post last week. And it's actually been issued a CVE. It has a Microsoft bug report, which is just hilarious to me. Anyway, according to Chen, and I'm gonna just read this directly. I'm not gonna riff on this at all, okay? CVE 2022-38392 was originally discovered by, quote, a major PC computer manufacturer. It can affect not just the laptop playing the song, but adjacent laptops from other PC companies as well. So not just the laptop itself playing it through Windows Media Player. If you set another laptop next to it, it could crash that laptop.
So this has to do with acoustics then, or the sound waves.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes. It has to do with the acoustics. The laptops would crash because the hard drives would become unstable because Rhythm Nation used some of the same natural resonant frequencies of of the internal hard drives. They were basically hitting the overtones and resonant frequencies, and the platters would rattle.
I guess that kind of makes sense. I mean, yeah.
I'm not making this up.
I mean, yes, they have people who could sing a certain tone and they can make glass shatter, right?
Right.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Same principle.
Same concept. Yeah, same concept.
Right. It's the Nikola Tesla, earthquake machine generator. It's that kind of thing, which Mythbusters did do a show on, where they took a linear actuator, put it on a bridge, and they could vibrate water 100 yards away. So resonant frequency is a real thing. Could it bring down a bridge? Probably not. At least not on the scale that they were testing. Can you shatter glass? Yes, you can shatter glass.
Oh, you can.
Not just from pressure, but from hitting the resonant frequency where, like the waves of an ocean.
It just hits it just right.
It hits it just right, and it moves more than its crystalline structure will allow it to move, and it shatters.
Well, those disk platters, there's not much wiggle room. There's not much wiggle room on those things. So you need to get an older hard drive, you get those heads buried in those disks, and that could screw those things up. Yeah,
so I would love to recreate this issue. I want to see this work.
We have to find the exact make and model of the laptop they're talking about.
Right, either the laptop or the drive or something. And back in those days, by the way, this certain 5400 RPM OEM hard drive as shipped with laptop PCs in approximately 2005. That's as far as you can narrow it down. So one certain model of 5400 RPM OEM hard drive as shipped with some laptop PCs approximately in 2005.
That's an old hard drive.
Isn't that amazing?
But the fact that there's people still out there using that, a laptop from 2005 that still has these original hard drives in it, and they're rocking it to Janet Jackson. That's how they figured this out.
Zachary says $20. It's a Toshiba.
Yeah. That's probably a good guess. I would say that's a good guess.
Ooh. From the era that it is, it could be Toshiba, because Toshiba was making laptops, and specifically was making laptops with pretty beefy sound systems in them, including like some rocker dials for your volume control on the laptop. Like I dealt with a number of them that had spinning Toshiba OEM drives in it. I very much wonder if it was a Toshiba drive. They were some of the first. HP and Toshiba were some of the first to start putting premium audio systems into their laptops. Branding Harman Kardon and Kinfinity and all those. Toshiba was big on that around that 2004 to 2007 era. I think you're onto something.
It could be right, yeah. Because it would have to crank out quite a bit of sound to affect not only the laptop itself, but laptops around them. So having like some really decent built-in speakers would probably make sense.
Yeah, Rom says a 2.5 inch 200 gig 5400. My guess for 2005 would be more like an 80 gig SATA. Because laptop drives, they started to approach that level. But I think you'd be pushing that capacity in 2005.
Yeah, 2005 is a little too early for...
Yeah, I would say 40s, 60s, or 80s. Probably something in that range.
Yeah, probably around that range, yeah.
It's a busy news week. I had to share that report because that not the greatest bug report ever made?
And of course, the solution is just don't play Janet Jackson. Just don't play it anymore.
It's so simple. Stop it.
Come on, guys. Just stop it.
You know what you shouldn't stop? Clicking on our sponsor link, because today's episode is brought to you by Linode. If you've ever needed to host your own servers, whether it be for home or business use, but don't have the resources to invest into hardware, power, cooling, time, or even space, why not let Linode host them for you? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes the software for most of the tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS server, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more, although make sure you change your passwords on that one. With shared CPU plans starting at as little as $5 per month and scaling up to as high as you need to go, you'll be able to find a hosting plan that fits your needs. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site, because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode also announced last year they were the first alternative cloud provider to have NVMe block storage available to all customers. Last September, they began rolling out NVMe drives to all 11 of their global data centers. Best of all, storage rates remained at the same low price they always have been. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. That's linode.com/craftcomputing, and again, a huge thanks to Linode for sponsoring today's episode.
Thanks, Linode. That was like an ode to Linode.
Linode.
An ode to Linode.
An ode to Linode.
Mm-hmm. Linode, my. Oh, my. Yes, George Takei.
Should I compare thee to a summer's day?
Oh, Linode. Let me compare you to a raid.
Whatever server this way wooed.
There you go.
Let's go Shakespearean sonnets on it.
Yeah, yeah. Taming of the server rack? I don't know.
So I hear Janet Jackson's banned at all Linode server data centers.
That's right. You can't. It's banned from all speakers there, just in case. Just in case Linode's being ran from a 2005 laptop.
I certainly hope not.
That's their secret.
Okay. Let's see. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of today, and that is the leaks. Oh my gosh, the leaks as we are nearing some release dates. We'll start with AMD in the Ryzen 7 7700X. That is their up-and-coming 5nm 6-core processor. Has been tested in Cinebench R20. Ooh. Now, Cinebench, as much as Intel may say it's not, is pretty much a universal test of a CPU's general speed, whether it's single-threaded or multi-threaded. Yes, it uses specific AVX workloads, but those AVX workloads translate into raw performance that you would normally see out of the instruction sets of a particular CPU. So that's why we use it as a great, exact, and repeatable test. Now, there's been a battle over Cinebench since, AMD started beating Intel to who could get the best score. And for years, Intel kind of dominated that. I mean, we all know that when it came to single-threaded performance, AMD was out of the game for quite a long time, really as long as Cinebench has been around. And in 2017, they launched Ryzen, and multi-threaded became competitive almost immediately, and in fact changed the high-end desktop market and changed the multi-core market pretty much forever. And then with Zen Plus, they got a little closer, and then with Zen 2, a funny thing happened. They started being only a couple percent behind in single-threaded performance, and only from the top tier, like the 9900Ks of the world. If you got an i3 9400, guess what? That tops out at 3.4 gigahertz. Well, the AMD 3600 didn't care. It would turbo as high as it wanted to. Right. So, on went this back and forth battle. Well, AMD seems to be taking the most recent shot as they are purportedly getting ready to launch the Ryzen 7 7700X, as well as the other chips from their Zen 4 lineup. And it is reported by Extreme Player to have a 20% IPC improvement. I don't know how much longer AMD can keep this up, because
I know.
They went 18, 18, and now 20 in like back-to-back generations. That's insane. And
yes,
this is kind of the chart that puts it all into perspective. There's also a leaked Intel i7 13700K, which is a top-flight Intel single-threaded chip, scoring an 814 on R20 single-threaded. But then you have the 7700X scoring a 773. So again, just a couple percentage points behind, but thoroughly dominating the 5950X, which is AMD's current 16-core big dog CPU.
Mm-hmm.
That's extreme.
Impressive.
Yeah, and man, I'm glad the gigahertz race is back on too. I missed this from
it's always exciting.
2001.
Yeah, well, especially you get bragging rights, and you get better competition with better pricing, more innovation, all that kind of stuff. It's good.
When there's competition, we win.
Yes,
because prices go down and innovation goes up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Anyway, Hot Chips took place over the last couple of days. Lots of announcements out of that, but this was the interesting bit from AMD that really hadn't been seen before. We had already seen some basic core and thread counts from their upcoming CPU launch, which they will officially unveil on August 29th, which is just 5 days from today. Moving on, there's a leak of 13th generation Intel Raptor Lake CPUs as far as pricing goes. And this one, I'm not sure how accurate this one is. So this comes from a Canadian leakster, and prices start at 423 Canadian dollars and go up to 940. That's 326 and 735 actual dollars. Sorry, Canadian friends. But starting with the 13600KF, which I really wish they would just get off the core branding and rename their lineup, because 5 digits and two alphas at the end.
2 alphas, yeah.
Is just stupid.
It's just getting maddening.
Yeah. 9900K. What are they going to do next? They're going to go back to the, do we finally get Pentium 5? Like, I'm waiting for that. I still want my P5. No, we went to 10900K. It's like, oh, that makes no sense, but okay. $326 for their 6-core entry. They've got their, I say 6-core. Let's scroll down the list. 6-core performance, 6 performance and 4 efficiency cores. 6 cores and 8 efficiency. Most of the CPUs have efficiency cores, except for the very bottom end, 4-core, 4-thread, i3. Yeah. Look at this. Look at that CPU, all the way down there at the bottom. A measly 12 megabytes of cache. 4 performance cores, 0 efficiency cores. It's only 65 watts, and it is overclockable. But why is that even a thing? Because the next step up,
I don't know.
Because the next step up is 6 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. So it's a 6-core, 16-threaded CPU versus 4 cores and 8 threads.
Yeah, just might as well spend a little bit extra money, get that.
And it's still overclockable. I don't get it. Anyway, going all the way up to their big dog of the 13900 series, of which there are 4. There's the K, the F, the KF, and the nothing. And
the KFU.
Yeah. So they have either a 65 watt or a 125 watt TDP, depending on if it's overclockable or not. Obviously, these CPUs are going to use a lot more than the 65 watts, even without overclocking. That is their top-end base frequency. But 8 performance cores and 16 efficiency cores. So that is a 24-core, 32-threaded chip, if I did my math right. So quite an interesting design, quite an interesting thing to be able to say. And that price is going to be $735, which puts it squarely in the sights of the 5950X and potentially the 7950X, the 16-core 32-thread chips from AMD. Now, if we scroll down a little bit, they also have some purported AMD pricing of $893 US dollars for the 7950X. That again is a 16-core 32-thread, so it doesn't have as many actual cores, but it has the same number of threads. Now, Intel has been pulling away slightly in their multi-threaded benchmarks as of late because of the use of those efficiency cores, which don't clock nearly as high, but they also draw a lot less power. So it's going to be interesting to see this generation where these two chips land, and not just those two chips, but all the way down the stack, of where they land in both multi-core and single-threaded performance. Is there a benefit one way or the other, or does it really depend on the individual tier that you're buying from? So lots and lots of fun benchmarking and results coming up probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks. So exciting time for tech.
All these new releases, all these new processors, all this fun, so much fun. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Oh, Bill Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with Intel news, Intel says they want to achieve a 1 trillion transistor on package CPU by 2030 by using chiplets. And honestly, I don't think they'd be that far off from that estimate.
They're going to use Mexican gum to do it?
Chiplets.
Oh, I thought you said chitlets.
No.
Yeah, Mexican gum to achieve 1 trillion transistors? It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've
just been chewing on them all this time.
What a thought.
So, I love that Intel... I love marketing in general, because when a technology suits you, you go all in for it, and it is the best thing since sliced bread. And when a competitor uses a technology that you wish you thought of first, it's a stupid design, and they should just leave glue out of this. That is Intel and their relationship with chiplets. So Ryzen started using chiplet design, that is making smaller dies with partitioned cores on them. And so you would make one chiplet with 4 cores on it, and then you just put 4 of them onto a CPU and call it a 16-core chip, which is how they get their EPYC CPUs. And they've been doing that since Zen 3. Or Zen 2? Zen 2 chiplets, yeah.
It was Zen 2, yeah.
Yeah, Zen 2. Sorry, it's been almost 3 years since that announcement.
I know, that goes by fast, right?
We were in Vegas.
Yeah, we were excited when that happened.
Yeah,
we were like,
we were pumped. Big news. So they've been taking smaller chips and putting them together and linking them together with cache, so they're all aware of what all the others are doing, and they can all read out of the same cache pool and communicate as if they were on physically the same die. And Intel went, they're just taking smaller cores and gluing them together. That's not what CPUs are about. And then Intel went and took their, their 3275X, which was 2 14-core chips that were just glued together. Yeah. Literally, you could see the split on it was amazing. And now Intel is getting into chiplets with both their Arc GPUs as well as potentially their CPUs coming up here pretty soon. 1 trillion transistors on package by 2030 using some very special glue.
Super secret glue. It's just Gorilla Glue, but, Intel brand Gorilla Glue.
Right. It's blue instead of yellow and foamy.
Yeah, that's right.
How's your beer treating you?
I'm almost done with this one, but I'm really enjoying it, actually. How are you doing? Almost there?
I've got a little bit left in the bomber, so I'm just gonna top myself.
Yeah, you had a bomber, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm down to
16
that.
ounces. So. All right. Okay. I'm about the same.
Okay.
If you ask me to, I will drink faster. I got no problem with that.
I don't want to push you, Steve. I know you're getting up there in age.
Oh, yeah. I gotta sip slowly now. Can't sip too fast, or I might pull a tongue.
Gosh, Rhett and I were talking the other day about where we were during certain things, and Rhett was like, "Yeah, I was 7," and I was like, "Oh God." I was like in high school. I was I was like a sophomore or junior in high school or something like that. And then I thought about it and I went, then I thought about it and I went, Steve was 26.
Yeah. I was probably going to my regular job and everything like that already.
It was exactly my thought. I don't know why you popped into my head, but it was just like, yeah, I was this age, and oh yeah, Steve's 10 years older, so there's that. Not to throw you under the bus. I don't want to break your hip or anything.
Times to adult, yeah. Oh, I know. I got my wheelchair already ordered for me. It's coming.
Nice. Let's see. Tech Geek chimes in and says, "Quit the music from above my door. Take thy platters out from out my drives, and take thy drives from off my server. Quoth the Raid 10 nevermore."
There you go.
Cheers for that one.
You know, Linode should be paying us for this stuff. I mean, come on.
Right.
This is gold. This is gold.
How much older is Steve than John? 8 years?
9. Well, let's just about 9. Yeah,
9, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I am the third oldest in our family, and John is the youngest.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of you guys.
Yes, there's a lot of us. I think I've mentioned quite a few of my brothers and sisters before in the show, but yeah, there's a bunch of us scattered around.
My sister Lucy and my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl.
Brother Daryl. Yeah, that's right.
Daryl. Yeah, their family's kind of like that. It's like I'm literally out of fingers with your family.
Yeah, I got an older brother, older sister. Then there's me, younger brother, younger sister, and then John.
Yep. I'm really glad I only have 2 siblings.
Yeah, a lot less birthdays to keep track of, a lot less gifts around Christmas you have to worry about.
So much easier.
Yeah, oh, I know.
We all fit under one roof for the holidays.
This is why we're just like, it's your birthday. Here, come over, have some whiskey with me. That's it. That's the present. That's the present right there.
Yep.
That's all you get. I'll buy you a cheeseburger. How's that?
All right. Let's see. Next up, we're going to get into a little bit of talk about schools and digital security, digital safety, digital citizenship. These are 2 stories that popped up, and even with as crowded as like the CPUs were this week, I felt these ones were kind of important to address from, again, like a personal security type measure. And not only that, but what grounds do schools have for monitoring and being responsible for behavior of students on and or off school grounds?
And this is particularly in your wheelhouse because you used to work for a school district.
I did. I contracted for many school districts, so it's been something that, you know, a lot of my clients, that was kind of my bread and butter that I did. So yeah, so I'm very familiar with internal school infrastructures and policies and administration and digital security and the digital age of kids these days.
Those kids these days.
Yeah, with their iPhones and their rap music.
Back in my day, we played Janet Jackson and my hard drive was fine.
Back in my day, I just downloaded Limp Bizkit from Napster and we were happy.
It came down at 56K a second and we loved it.
Steve, you're not going to believe this. I can fit 40 songs onto my MP3 player, and it fits in my pocket.
I'm blown away.
What were we talking about? Oh, right.
School security.
School security. Yeah. So, in Ohio, a case came up recently that during the pandemic, obviously, students haven't been in session in a lot of different states and counties, depending on local regulations and, state of everything as it goes. I'm not getting into that discussion right now. I don't care what your politics are on it. We're not having that discussion here. Secondly, schools were still required to provide education and have it, and still do their state testing and all the other things that they're required to do of all the students, whether the students were in school or not. I had many discussions and meetings about remote education and Chromebooks and iPads and Wi-Fi and how do we get data to those who live like 13 miles from anywhere and all that kind of stuff. Like it was all a big thing. Like, let me tell you. So one of the things that is required in most schools as far as state testing goes, that is their state standardized testing to make sure you can still receive state funding, and if you don't pass, you don't get funding, so you're not going to get better. But that's a discussion for another day as well. Is during state testing, there are monitoring requirements and facilities that have to be essentially clean. You cannot have hints up on the wall. The teacher cannot answer questions. You cannot explain a question to a student. You can't have math formulas up on the wall where the students can see them and potentially remember them. It has to be all from in here. And so there's essentially clean rooms that are in almost every single school around the country that are nothing but a computer lab with one icon on the desktop that they open up, and our tax dollars at work. We have to do state testing. Yep. During the pandemic, schools still were required to do that state testing. But according to the state testing rules, they also had to still implement clean room situations. This led to an Ohio school basically requiring an administrator or a teacher or a test administrator to see the webcam of the student that was going to be taking the exam and have them scan their room with the webcam so the teacher could make sure that no contraband was present. That search has been deemed unconstitutional by an Ohio judge, as it is a slippery slope for more illegal searches. And again, this kind of broaches the question of what grounds and responsibility and authority does a school district have over a student when they are not on school grounds, regardless of whether they are using school property in the Chromebook or not. And this has been a point of contention that I've had to deal with again, some of my clients on. I've discussed issues of, well, there's bullying happening on Facebook at like 10 p.m. and then the parents call us and complain. It's like, why aren't the parents dealing with this? Yeah. Now, there's a legal statute called in loco parentis. It is essentially the school during school hours has the authority of a parent. That is, they can search a backpack. They do not have to have a warrant. They basically replace the legal guardian for 7 hours a day, or act as a legal guardian for 7 hours a day. And that is I know it was a mandate in Oregon, but I'm fairly certain that's a federal mandate. And that goes back to capital punishment days, if you want to know the history on that one. Anyway, under that mandate, you can order a student to open their locker. You can order a student to open their backpack if you suspect they have drugs or other contraband or a weapon or something like that on them, because that's the assumed authority that a parent would have over that same child. When that child leaves school grounds, it gets a little murky, because they're also told by the state and the counties and federally that they're responsible within so many so far of school grounds as far as children going home and traversing from home and school. And so there are some responsibilities along there to make sure they have, and Skull chimes in and says, yes, in loco parentis is federal. And I was pretty sure it was federal. But they have certain responsibility within the bounds of traveling and traversing. They're required to transport with school buses and things like that, and they're also required to make sure that certain paths and certain major thoroughfares are safe for students. How does that tie in with the digital age and digital messaging and constant communication that kids have these days? Because does the school have a right to install an application on your phone to monitor your messaging? And is it only valid during school hours? Does a school have the right to check your phone at any point in time? Can they unlock your phone with a password? Can they compel the student to give them their fingerprint or their password to unlock the phone? These are things that really haven't been dealt with. But going back to this Ohio case, the judge ruled that this was a form of illegal search, in that the school may have had a right to view the area that the test was taking place because they were on a school-issued Chromebook and it was school-owned and they were in school session. But forcing them to reveal their internal surroundings, and again, within loco parentis, let's say I held up my laptop as a student and I turn around and there's 4 weed plants in the background and we happen to live in Utah, not Colorado.
Yeah.
Let's just say, would the school have the legal right to send the cops or literally just enter the home of the student because it's during school hours and it's in school session? Would they have the legal right to turn that evidence over to police? Would they have the legal right to do any number of other things?
Right.
And this Ohio judge, again, state case, Ohio, not federal, says no, that they are no longer allowed to ask to see the surroundings because it is a slippery slope for warrantless searches. And this could be used not only against the students, but against guardians or simply places that the students exist. And that is beyond the bounds of reasonable search and the bounds of in loco parentis. So that's one. The second privacy issue comes through a tool that is being used to monitor... it's an electronic hall pass.
Yeah.
Because writing a piece of paper is too flippin' difficult. So eHall Pass, which is the name of the service, is a for-profit company that is basically installing an app onto either student-owned phones or school-owned devices, where if a student needs to, let's say, get up and use the bathroom, they can request in class the right to leave, which, by the way, is a federally protected right. The student does not have to stay in the classroom if they need to use the restroom. You cannot restrict restroom access. Period. End of discussion. So, requesting to leave to go to the restroom, the answer is yes, regardless of whether you have permission or not. Number 2, this application not only serves as an e-hall pass, as an electronic hall pass. Look, my teacher said I could be here right now. It also tracks down to the foot where a student goes, how long they were there, what other students were in that same vicinity, and can be used to monitor students the way we would think of Big Brother monitoring with cameras.
Well, it's like ankle monitor almost. Like,
it's basically an...
Yeah.
Where do you go that you do not have your cell phone?
Right.
Does anyone
almost
ever
everywhere.
not have their cell phone within reach, if not in their pocket on their person?
Oh man!
Like,
I remember the dark ages when
so
I had to
do I.
go to the bathroom and I had to read the shampoo bottle in the bathroom
Yeah.
because there was nothing else to read. I was looking at the ingredients of the shampoo.
This one shampoos and conditions.
It does, yeah.
2 for 1.
I read the instructions 3 or 4 times. But now we have the cell phone.
To quote Bo Burnham's In the Future.
Yeah.
Bottle shampoos and conditions. It's a 2 for 1. Good song. We're living in the future, Steve. Anyway,
I know.
This application, eHall Pass, is reportedly already in 1,000 schools across the country, from California to New York to Carolina and everything in between. And the premise of it is, as some people have said, is a genuine problem that could be solved. It is, how do you keep track of where a student is supposed to be, where a student is allowed to be, deal with the permissions that go with that, as far as like, oh, I'm not in my class today because I'm doing a special project over here in this class. Look, here's the form from my teacher that happens to be on my cell phone. Like, that is a thing. And because of, again, in loco parentis, the school does have a right to know where, and actually a responsibility to know where kids are. But how far does that go? Because this is very akin to Amazon's much maligned, much criticized monitoring of Amazon workers, as far as how long were you on task and how long were you in the toilet? And they use those metrics to penalize workers for time spent off task. And where is the level of surveillance that we want to allow on kids, and extended to that on workers, as a society?
Yep.
That is a deep, deep, intrinsic psychological question that I don't think we're going to solve here on tonight's show.
Not here, no. But it's no. You said because I didn't read the article. Is it like a device, like when you go to a restaurant and you're like waiting for
it's
your
an
order
application that uses your cell phone and GPS data.
Okay, so it has to be on your cell phone, right?
Yeah, it has to be on your cell phone or a district provided device.
Okay, so if it's a district provided device, then what's stopping the kid from just slipping in somebody else's backpack and watching the teachers go crazy looking for that kid who's like wandering off?
Well,
it's
part
not
of
even
all
that for a
this,
kid.
part of all this is not only is it can you like show, hey, look, my teacher signed off. Any administrator of the system can view the location of every single student at any given time. They can see which students came into contact with one another, so they can avoid potential bullying or fights or things like that. They can also monitor how long did it take you to go to the bathroom? What students are you talking to? Who's, it goes a little bit beyond the scope, in my mind, of the information that a school would need to keep track of a kid. Right. And again, this also tracks them off campus if it's a personal device.
Right. I was going to say, like, if it's on their phone, how do they know it's turned off when they leave campus?
Right. Outside of school hours, and specifically not traversing between school and home, they're not the school's responsibility, nor should the school have any right to track a student to that finite a detail. So, very interesting questions. One of the opponents of this technology notes that increased scrutiny offered by surveillance tools is often showed to be disproportionately targeted against minorities, recent immigrants, and LGBTQ, both at the professional and employee and oogie boogie big brother level, but also at the student level. Because, surprise, we have an inherent racism problem in our country. And
the worst thing is it's going to get rid of the tried and true institution of skipping school.
Right.
Playing hooky, that's gone now. I used to play hooky all the time. It was great. It was fun. I wouldn't want to go back to school if I couldn't play hooky.
Here's the deal. If kids want to skip school, they're still going to skip school.
I know. They're going to still skip school.
There's one of you and 35 of us. Like, there used to be 24 of us, but then budget cuts. Now there's 35 of us. You can't win. So, yeah, like I said, we're not going to come up with a solution to any of this here and now.
No.
It is a deep, dark, law-ridden conversation, right-ridden conversation about what's right, what's wrong, whose responsibility is it, and how far should a school's rights go. And again, beyond that, an employer's rights go to tracking internally their employees and penalizing them for taking 4 minutes instead of 3 on a bathroom break. So, and also, all of this information is not tracked locally. It's on a third-party server run by a for-profit company.
Right. And it's you know, like you said before, we went through data breaches. First story we had data breach.
Yep. One thing that not a lot of people keep in mind is schools are a massive target for identity thieves. Not because there's a lot of money in schools. Yes, there's a lot of money in a lot of schools, and if you can get into the accounting department or you can get someone to write you a check, yeah, that's a great way to go. Even at some of the smallest school districts around, think the ones that are like 1,000 kids or 500 kids, that's 500 fresh, unadulterated social security numbers that I can use for credit checks.
Oh, yeah, they can farm it, yeah.
You could... I had that done to me in 2002. I went to the unemployment office to try to find work and discovered that my social security number had been in use since 1993, registered to 3 different individuals.
Oh, man.
So here I am, a young kid, young adult, looking for a job, and being told that, oh no, your social security number's been used for identity theft for the last 13 years. It's like, oh, that's a great way to start off my life. Thanks for the kickstart.
When you retire, you get 3 times the social security now.
Yeah.
That's how it works, right?
Hopefully it's all accounted for somewhere. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, somewhere.
But yeah, like I said, we're not going to solve anything tonight, but I wanted everyone to be aware of these things because these are kind of current tech issues that are at least tech adjacent, and a lot of my audience is not necessarily the 18-year-old to 25-year-old crowd of the normal, like, enthusiast tech, you know, water-cooled PCs and i9s and overclocking, woo! My audience is actually primarily 30 to 45. It's people with kids. It's families. Yeah. It's family leaders, men and women, husbands, wives, you know, fathers, mothers. That's my audience. And so things like this could be something that you need to keep an eye out for. And it is a technology that I am fairly familiar with. So there we go. I've been approached by school administrators before about our right to download text messages or Facebook messages off of a student's phone that they confiscated. And I said, legally, I think we're allowed to, but man, you're crossing some slippery slopes, and I don't want to be on a subpoena when that comes down.
Yeah. I mean, even Apple tells, you know, the FBI and the cops to, you know, screw off when they ask them to unlock things.
Right.
What kind of authority does the school have coming?
Right. And again, in loco parentis is a very deep, not legally challenged mandate that gives schools a lot of authority that even authorities don't have. As I was told at one point in my career, schools have search and seizure rights the police only dream of. As far as, like, open that backpack. What are you holding in your pocket there? Empty your pockets. Come on.
They're only on campus.
That's why
it's always weird when you're in school and then you saw a teacher or principal or something outside of the school, and you're still kind of like apprehensive. It's like, oh, you have no power here, you know, because they basically don't.
Right. So, something to be aware of. And, you know, technology moves faster than us all, but it seems that, you know, between you and me, Steve, there wasn't much, like, yeah, I had at least the internet by the time I was in high school. Middle school, it really wasn't the thing.
I had BBSs.
Right. I had BBSs and
yeah.
like I would connect to BBSs in middle school, and then by high school the internet was around, but it was also in the day that it's like you can't trust anything on there.
No, yeah, it was all. It's
Go
like
to the library and look
yeah.
up the card catalog. You know, learn the Dewey
Yeah.
Decimal System. That's where all the knowledge is and will remain.
Yeah. Thanks to Conan the Librarian, who taught me the Dewey Decimal System.
Anyway, you should be thoroughly finished with your beer at this point.
I am completely finished with my beer, yes.
Excellent, because I want to open my next one. So,
I do too. I'm excited for my beer.
Noctum Artemis Brewery, this is the Double Catnip Double IPA, clocking in at 9%.
Yeah, now this is Great Notions Augie Hazy IPA, 7%. And Great Notion, man, they never miss, man. They just don't miss.
JK Software says, I used to hack my school's netware networks. Oh god, do you know how many Novell systems, Novell netware I administered in my long and storied tenure? I worked in some form of IT support for almost 17 years. Really every job that I held since about 2003 involved IT in some way. Some of them directly, some of them, at least the IT components were still in my job description. And that's why I took those jobs. I was a CNC manufacturer, CNC machinist for a while. Was trained on a Como dual 6-foot 9-axis CNC machine. And worked with the engineer of that company to design new parts and test new things. And by the way, also networked his engineering PC to the DOS 5.0 CNC controller that was down on the shop floor, so he didn't have to carry floppy disks down to me all the time.
Wow, that's a big revelation for him, I bet.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah, but in 17 years, I've had a lot of tenure, and I've seen a lot of server systems come and go. And Novell NetWare will not be missed.
No. Yeah, I think when I first started my first software job, we had Novell NetWare going through there, and man, I was happy to see that thing go.
Mike wants to know, why doesn't our operating system have the equivalent of a librarian that knows where everything is? Maybe that's the evolution of Cortana. We had that, but everyone hated Clippy.
Clippy was ostracized. he was
Clippy did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's where Microsoft wants to take Cortana, and Apple wants to take Siri, and Google wants to take whatever the hell they call her. They want it to be a fully fledged natural dialogue digital assistant. That is the ultimate end goal. Number one, because it's actually genuinely useful technology to be able to converse with the computer in natural speech, the way that we always dreamed we could in Star Trek. You know, computer, what is the blah, 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 blah of the blah, blah, blah? I do this in my truck when I'm driving down the road. If I have a question, I'll hit the microphone like I have a random thought pop in my head, or I have this really long math problem that I needed to solve. And I'll just ask it to the supercomputer in the sky, and within 3 seconds, in my natural voice, I get a natural response. And it's great. You know, they still can't tell me where half the coffee shops are in my area, but, you know, progress.
Yeah.
For those wondering, the difficult math that I had to do in my truck this week is I've had back in May, so a couple months now, I bought a new to me but used 2012 Dodge Ram 1500. Really nice truck, super clean, and I got it for a steal of a price because it had 190,000 miles on it. But
I thought you were going to say someone was murdered in there or something.
No.
That's just, I had to clean up the blood or whatever. It was
yeah,
fine. I got it cheap. It's
sop
haunted.
it up with a rag. Right.
It's haunted, but it's okay. It still drives okay.
Fine.
That's fine.
Anyway, super high mileage for a truck, 190,000 miles. And the reason I went ahead and bought it is it had a number of parts that were recently replaced. Alternator, water pump, timing belt's already been done. Like all of the major maintenance and all of the fluids that had to be changed at about on a regular basis had been changed. You could see the marks where recently someone had opened the rear diff and changed the oil on the rear differential. There's no leaks on it anywhere. It's a solid truck, and I've been thrilled with it. But there's always that little thing in the back of your head going like, when are you going to need to rebuild the engine? It's a Hemi with 190,000 miles on it. And I'm like, even for the price I got it for, if I need to pay, $2,000 for someone to rebuild the engine, there's a shop down the street that'll do it for me. Like, cool. Still got a great deal. But I noticed something. So for the first couple of gas tanks, I noticed I was getting exceptionally good mileage. And I'm a pretty economical driver anyway, except if I'm in the Z car on like a dead straightaway. I'm a fairly economical driver, especially in traffic. I very light on the gas and on the brake. And my Ram truck was getting like 23 miles the gallon combined, when it's supposed to get like 16 city and some have reported like 20 highway. I'm getting like 23. I drove to the coast and back and then filled my tank, and I got almost 26 and a half miles to the gallon. And I went, that's raising some red flags, because there's no way my 5.7 liter V8 is getting 26 and a half miles to the gallon. No possible way. Then it dawned on me that when I first got the truck, I opened the glove box and pulled out the user manual. And I went, oh, it's a Canadian import truck. But everything in the truck is imperial measure. The temperature readout is imperial. It's in Fahrenheit. The speedometer is a regular speedometer. Now, what's really funny is my Z car is also a Canadian import, but I had to change out both dash clusters to change it from metric to imperial, because I don't measure fuel in kilometers per liter, or liters per kilometer. It's miles
Our
per
brains
gallon.
just don't work like that.
Right. Yeah. My brain doesn't invert that fraction well. Like, it just doesn't.
I know it's the easier way, but we're just not used to it. Damn it.
It gave me my oil pressure in kilopascals. Like, what the hell? So I changed out the dash clusters and got it all up and running. And it's great now, and everything transferred over because the computer just spits out a number, and then your dash actually calculates what that number is in either metric or imperial. But my truck, everything was imperial. The HVACs, it has the temperatures, and they're in Fahrenheit. The dash, it'll show the outside and the engine temp, and that's in Fahrenheit. Never even dawned on me that the odometer may be metric, until I was calculating my gas mileage on my third tank for like the final time, and it's like, I'm getting almost 27 miles the gallon on a truck that should struggle to do 18.
So it was going by kilometers.
Oh wait, that's about 2/3. Oh shit. Isn't a kilometer 0.6 of a mile? As it turns out, yes it is. So I actually measured a couple of trips that I did, and sure enough, it's in kilometers, which means I got an even better deal on the truck because of, hey Google, what's 190,000 kilometers in miles? And turns out to be 118,192.5 miles or something like that.
So it's higher mileage than you thought it was.
No, it's way lower mileage. 118,000 versus 190,000.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yes, because it was kilometers. So
2/3 to the kilometer.
Yes, go down now. Yeah.
Yep.
So you got a bargain.
Yeah,
basically, and it
I got
was
a
less
great
miles
deal
than you thought it was.
And super recent service. So now I'm not even worried about the long-term health of this truck.
Yeah,
and I'm thrilled with it. But I also redid the gas mileage calculation, and I'm getting like 16.5.
Oh, okay, well, that's more realistic, though.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Ooh. Another one that kind of caught me off guard.
Mine is excellent. This is really super tropical.
Wow. I'm
really digging it.
This is a hazy, unlike many other hazies that I've had. Think of the hazies from like 2 years ago, where we got like a lot of acid burn, but the first couple of sips were super, super juicy and super flavorful, and then they would just kind of turn into that acid burn.
Yeah.
This reminds me of those super dank juice bombs. But follow me here. Lemon heads.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there is a fairly
straight up
recent
Mike and
hop.
Ike lemon heads.
There's a lemon drop hop that's fairly new. I think it came out a year ago, maybe 2 years. But it has very interesting lemon properties to it, and I guarantee you that they probably dry hop that with some lemon hop.
That is remarkably exactly the way I remember lemon heads. Like exactly. From the
like the first time you sucked them, or when you bit into lemon heads, there was like this this
super
sweetness that came out. Sweet came out, and then
right, yeah. When you first put them in your mouth, they're fairly sour, and then the center part is very sweet. It's sugar with a lemon coating, right? This is kind of like once you bite into it, just that first initial burst of sweetness, where it's still very tart and very sour, and has quite a bit of tang to it. But there's this sweetness that just kind of carries that flavor on through, and it ends up being very, very pleasant. I'm liking this one.
Well,
this is super good.
Maybe you're part cat and you just really like it. Because it's got catnip in it, right?
Yeah. By the way, we now refer to Rambo by his earned title, and that is Lord Protector.
Lord Protector Rambo.
So Miss, my oldest daughter, woke me up 3:40 in the morning on Monday to say, I just got up to go to the bathroom and there's a dead mouse on my floor.
Oh no.
And I went, okay, let me go take a look. Like, not a big deal. And as we're walking downstairs, she goes, and I locked Rambo out so he couldn't get to him. And I said, okay. So I got a couple of rubber gloves and a bag, and I'm like, okay, well, just go take care of it and clean it up if we need to. It was patently obvious that Rambo was the cause of said dead mouse.
He gutted that sucker from stem to stern.
Without getting too graphic, he had bit like this half of the face off.
Yeah.
And there was an eye hanging from a string on the head of the mouse, where the rest of the pieces were missing.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
It was just a tiny little mouse. It was like this big.
He took a bite and he's like, you know what? I don't really like this, but you guys might like it, so I'll just leave it here for you. You guys can try it.
And what I said was, I just started like, and all the fur was just like licked. Like Rambo spent a good amount of time making sure that was a presentable gift to Miss.
Oh yeah. I don't want it to look too unappealing. I don't want it to look unappetizing. Let me lick it down so it's nice and clean for you.
Right. So, it wasn't a very big mouse. It was, maybe 2.5, 3 inches long, nose to end of body. Tail was a little bit longer than that. Not a huge mouse by any means. But, like I said, patently obvious of how it got there. So I told Miss, you know how we give Rambo food? Well, cats don't know how to appreciate us, but if you were a cat, he would try to provide food for you. And so that's what he was doing. He said, hey, I caught this. Look what I can do. Here, I appreciate you. You're my favorite. Have a snack.
You're looking skinny. He's like an Italian grandma. You're looking skinny.
Yeah.
Go eat some more. Have a nice juicy mouse with half its head bit off. It's the best kind.
It was so funny. So and I said, we now have to call him by his title, which is Lord Protector, because that would be the title of an official bodyguard or serviceman for a monarch or royalty. And so Lord Protector Rambo is now what we call him.
Lord Protector.
Miss is a trooper to have handled that in stride. She is so she takes after me a lot in some regards, in that nothing seems to rattle her. I'm kind of always the one that you want in a crisis situation. If there's a car wreck, I'm the one that goes, okay, XYZ, go. Like someone get on the phone, I'm gonna hold this jugular vein closed, and you make sure that his leg, you find all of his fingers. Like that, that's me. I just go straight into administrative mode and crisis remediation, and now 30 minutes later, I'll have an anxiety attack and have to go take a nap. You know, the adrenaline will wear off, and then my anxiety will kick in, and that's a heck of a cocktail to wake up to. But she does kind of the same thing, where in the moment, if something serious is happening, and we've had a couple situations where it's like, we need to take action now. There's something happening, we need to go. And she is right there going, yes, what can I do? Oh, I need to go grab this, and how can I help? And right there in the moment, and then 30 minutes later, just like
collapse.
Collapse, right. So she's going to be fantastic about that kind of stuff. A couple of people chiming in about, am I the only one not grossed out by this? Nah, it didn't bother me at all. Yeah, anyone who's grown up in the country, like, we had some rats infest a shed that we had at my last house, and starlings on the fence that were eating all of our garden and things like that. One of my favorite pastimes was to sit on my balcony with an air rifle and take them out.
Get those starlings.
Starlings are super smart too, and they're also very communicative, because they would irritate the crap out of my neighbor's house behind me. And they would come into our garden and dig things up and steal plants and crap like that, and, you know, eat all the bugs that were helping keep everything healthy. I would... one year I finally got fed up with it. I took my air rifle out there and I shot 3 of them in an afternoon. And I picked up most of the bodies. I left one up on the fence.
I was going to say, hang him in effigy.
Nothing says stay out of my yard like a bloody head on a fence post. Yeah. And for the next 5 years, the starlings would sit on my neighbor's roof and not even fly over my house. It took an entire generation of bird to overcome the fear of entering my yard from one afternoon of just taking them out.
The starlings were just sitting up on the neighbor's roof going, yeah, that over there, that house over there, yeah? You see that over there? We don't.
By the way, like 8 years ago, and even more recently than that, I was a huge fan of Ted's Holdover on YouTube, which is an airgun channel that was kind of unceremoniously kicked off of YouTube when they went, oh, anti-gun, and it's like, it's an air rifle. I'm hunting squirrels.
Come on.
Skull says, be thankful it wasn't a dog and bringing you a dead possum. Ruby did bring us a dead starling one time. She caught one in the backyard and presented it to us. So
look what I got. Yeah, that's the difference between cats. They both will give you gifts. Yes. But the cat doesn't care if you eat it or not. It's just like, well, if you don't want it, whatever, you don't want it. But I think dogs get a little butthurt if you don't eat what they gave you. Like, what? You didn't like my gift? What? Right. What's wrong with you? It's a perfectly good, stinky, smelly dead possum, and you're not eating it? What's wrong with you? They get a little mad. Mm-hmm.
All right. We do have a couple other stories to get to. Qualcomm seems to be getting back into the server market with their latest acquisition. So Qualcomm will be acquiring Nuvia and all of their intellectual property. Interestingly enough, a company founded by ex-Apple CPU engineers who helped kickstart some of the ARM developments, which later became iPhone and iPad processors, and even more recently, Apple's M1. Qualcomm has mentioned recently that they are wanting to dive back into ARM-powered servers and kind of shake up the market with Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA kind of taking a bulk of the compute market share. They're wanting to get back into it because Qualcomm, for those who don't know, Qualcomm actually does make some very competent ARM products. Most of the time they wind up in smartphones and things like that.
They're mobile chip phones,
Yeah, the mobile chips, but they've made some pretty competent higher end systems as well as some ARM-based Windows PCs, laptops specifically. So it's not like Qualcomm is new to making CPUs. And bringing on a collection of ex-Apple engineers and all of the brain trust that goes with that, fantastic move for Qualcomm. And again, in the world of competition, we all win, or data centers will win because they'll get another player and another option in that market.
Yep. And here I thought Nuvia was just a skincare product. That's of an odd purchasing choice for Qualcomm.
At least this wasn't just Nuvia for men. They're all inclusive with the server purchase.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You'll have the softest, smoothest servers ever.
Oh man, had to bring that up. So this is very Star Trek.
Oh yes,
not genuinely Star Trek, but very, very sci-fi, very next worldly. We are definitely living in the future because we are starting to look, or at least Europe is, at solar-based reflectors to send concentrated beams of F up you and everything around you as if it hits you to basically increase the efficiency of solar farms.
Yeah.
Basically, they want to take satellites that will have triangulated, mirrored arms, which will basically form like a set of reflectors, which will go down and geosynchronously point to the sun at a particular bank of solar arrays to increase the efficiency of that geolocation. Because there's only so much sun that you can collect from a certain point. Because you can only have so many dishes in that point pointed in the right direction and tracking the sun. But if you take that tracking component and you put it into orbit and then you concentrate it down.
Yeah.
That's a lot more thermal energy.
Clever. The pitch meeting was kind of like, well, you know when you were a kid and you would fry bugs with your magnifying glass? Imagine that, but in space.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's genius.
I'm really surprised it wasn't Mike Myers in the meeting going, first off, we would have fired the laser.
The laser.
Laser. Zip it.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Space lasers.
Space lasers.
Space lasers. Space sun lasers.
Did you see this viral thing that went out?
I absolutely did. I put this one on here.
Okay.
Because I thought this was great beer news. This is
great beer news.
Lovely, great beer news. This is beer and innovation. When you're down and you're stuck and you have to utilize something around you to solve a problem. This is what it's all about.
This is I don't think this is the utilization of parts in hand. I think this was a cry for help, if anything.
Maybe he just likes it that way. I don't know.
And he may, but this reminds me very much of I made a megaphone using nothing but a squirrel, some duct tape, and a megaphone that I found.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't seen it, there was a Yankees fan who was caught on camera by another fan in the stands. I'll just go ahead and hit play right here. He's not doing heroin. That was my first thought. I could have swore that was needle going, like, is he diabetic? Like, what's going on? Like, why are you filming him? No, he was taking a drinking straw that he received with his beer party foul number one.
Right.
Inserted the straw through a hot dog to core said straw.
Yep.
But we're not done. And then the hot dog straw beer was born.
That's right.
You've seen it. You can't unsee it.
Yep.
Join us next week for more Tales of Interest.
Yeah, that's a great recipe. That's one of those tasty recipes that you see on Facebook. Tasty.
Yeah, but if you looked it up on Etsy, it would be, you know,
sorry.
it would be, you know, the hot dog straw. Well, as I traveled around as a young lad through Brazil, I learned that, like, you got the entire 2-page blog post to get through before it says, take an average drinking straw and just ram it through a hot dog. Boom, instructions. That's what I was here for. I didn't realize I needed to learn German before I... What do they speak in Brazil?
Yes, that's...
Portuguese. I didn't realize I needed to learn Portuguese before I stuck a straw through a hot dog.
Yeah, that's maybe that's what they call it. Maybe that's the German straw. That's what they call it, the German straw.
Strawwurst?
Strawwurst.
By the way, I apologize to any German viewers.
I also know that John's got that...
and Brazilian and European. Who else have I offended this show? Like, there's been a lot.
Yeah. So John's got that. He's got that hot dog flavored hard seltzer.
That was going to be my next question.
Right. So I think because I know he's going to invite me. He's going to invite me over to taste this thing because he always does for the really gross.
You need to show up with a hot dog.
We need to like, we'll taste it first, just fine. But we're going to have to make hot dog straws and taste it with hot dog straws. Just for posterity's sake.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much that I want to do this.
Oh, you want to come do that? He's been trying to get you out there to drink some pickle beers for a long time.
Pickle is a no-go. Although pickle through a hot dog.
Maybe.
Pickle through a hot dog.
Hot dog water, hot dog flavored hot dog water seltzer. You'll come for that though, right?
Boy, sounds like a party.
It does, doesn't it?
So the example that I use whenever my kids don't want to eat what we serve them is we only make you foods that we already know you eat, unless we know you don't like it, and then we'll make you try one bite. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Right. Yeah. And so, but I'm not that kind of parent that will like, no, you're going to sit at this table until your lima beans are gone.
Right. Yes.
Lima beans.
I still don't like lima beans.
I still don't like lima beans. Anyway, the example that I will use, if something from a restaurant or whatnot comes unexpected, you know, not what I expected. I ordered mac and cheese, and this is not the mac and cheese that you make at home because we happen to be at Sizzler. Like, the example I will use is one day I had to drive up to Portland and pick up a whole bunch of stuff, and the only thing that was near me was a Wendy's, and it's like, great choice. Wendy's, I'll pull in there, I'll get a burger real quick. It was like 3 p.m. I hadn't eaten that day, and I didn't realize I hadn't eaten that day, and it was like, I need to pull over or I'm going to kill someone.
Getting hangry.
Right, I'm getting hangry and lightheaded. So pulled into the drive-thru, finally on my way home, ordered like a double cheeseburger and a drink. And specifically, no pickles, no mustard. Okay? Came with pickles, came with mustard. Now, mustard I can usually handle.
Yeah.
Pickles? No.
Nuh-uh.
If once the pickles touched it, you can't untouch the burger. You can't untouch the pickle from the bun. The damage is done.
It's
now
pickled
pickled
into the bun. It's there. It's
right.
there.
It's in there. It gets all up in there.
The essence of pickle is going to be haunting that burger for the rest of its life. Yes.
Right. And Wendy's uses some of their locations, they will use sliced pickles. Other places they use more of a relish. And in this location they used a bit of a relish. And so it's not like I could just like pick the pickles off even if I wanted to eat pickle soaked bread. No. It's not coming off. It's in there. So what did I do? I ate the burger. In as few bites and as few actual like chewing as possible.
You just get that nutrients down my gullet.
Just get it down, get that blood sugar flowing, get it going. And so that's the example that I will use when my kids don't want to eat something is, you know how much Dad hates pickles. I will say in the kitchen when my wife asks me to open the pickle jar because she can't, that I am morally opposed, but I will do it for you.
Right. This is bordering on like international crimes against humanity.
I understand a war crime is about to take place, and now you've made me an accomplice. Like that's my feeling on pickles. But in the moment, I ordered food. It wasn't what I wanted, but I wasn't going to throw away $10 worth of burger and soda. No, I ate the burger. You can eat this.
I am not at all a picky eater. I will eat just about anything. In fact, because
I only have a couple of those vices. I have pickles. I have pickles and mustard, or sorry, pickles and mushrooms. And mushrooms like pickles. I'm like no pickles, but mushrooms are like appear like.
I don't have anything that I won't eat. I'll eat anything, but I have things I do not enjoy. Like I don't enjoy beets. Beets is not. I'll eat it. It kind of has a little earthy. I don't really like the flavor, but I just don't care for them. I'll eat them, but you know what? I had some of John's beet beer that he had at his tap room a long time ago, and I'm like, no, I don't really like it.
Is it just the pickles, or is pickled anything off the table? It's a combination of the vinegar and the garlic and just kind of like everything that goes into the pickling process. You're preserving things for far longer than they should be preserved. And my brain doesn't allow that. I don't know what it is, but if... Now again, pickles are like there. Like compared to 98% of the rest of the food on the planet, pickles aren't that bad. But for me, they're like the outlier. They're like something I don't like. And then mushrooms are like, no.
No, I love mushrooms.
I don't want to be in the same house.
As a mushroom?
But pickles, like, I've been served like I'll order a tuna sandwich or a French dip or something like that. And, they put a little bit of relish into the tuna. As long as it has enough mayo and ranch and whatnot, I don't mind the crunch. I don't mind a little bit of that vinegar flavor. It's when it's too overbearing. And for me, like a sliced pickle on a sandwich is too overbearing.
Right. I mean, I get that. I like a good balance in things too, yeah.
Right. But in general, it's just the pickling process I don't like, because I do like cucumbers. I like cucumbers on salads. I like cucumbers. I'm not going to sit there and like bite into a cucumber, but I do like the flavor. I like the things that you can do with it. I love cucumbers in mixed drinks.
Yeah.
Olives, if they're too much, like I'm not just gonna like munch on olives. But olives on a pizza, olives on a sandwich, more the merrier. It's fine. Yeah. Like as long as there's balance to it, I don't mind olives.
Yeah, balance. Balance is key. Now, Rob just asked. He has the same question I was going to ask. What about fermenting? Have you tried fermenting over like pickling? Because fermenting doesn't use as much vinegar.
Right. I have not. I've not gotten into the craft pickle realm because I can't even put a toe into the baby pool. Like,
well, I think what he's asked is like I don't know. You're probably not a big hot sauce guy, but Rom sent me some of his hot sauces, and I think he fermented his hot sauce.
Okay.
And those I thought they were excellent. I thought they were really good.
I actually don't mind so much some of the vinegar hot sauces and things like that. As long as they're pretty well flavorful. and more flavor than vinegar. If it's just straight up vinegar, no.
I love hot sauce, but I can't stand Tabasco because it's just
way vinegar. Too much vinegar. It's hot vinegar, and it's like no.
Yeah.
But yeah, things like other hot sauces where it's like you get some chilies in there, you get some actual like green and red peppers, and some
those
fantastic.
Those are
it's great,
absolutely.
Because there's a payoff to the. I don't want just heat either. I don't want just heat, and I don't want heat and vinegar. I want some flavor to go along with it.
Yeah. Oh, so since ramen's not a thing, I've been growing my own peppers this year, and
nice.
I have a big bushel of serrano. I actually have some scorpion and ghost peppers coming up. I'm super excited to try to make something extra spicy.
That could be fun.
And I got some elephant garlic to put in there that Angie grew. I'm like super excited. I got all these kind of fresh vegetables I'm going to put in my hot sauce.
Yeah, compared
that
to
we grew in our backyard.
Yeah, compared to like Rhett and you, I'm probably a little bit of a picky eater, but it's not like I don't draw the line at spices, and I don't draw the line at heat, and I don't draw the line at it's if it's in the proper balance, it's probably just fine.
Oh yeah,
Like every spirit except tequila, I really enjoy, but I still enjoy agave spirits that don't have to follow all the tequila rules and be exactly tequila when they come out, because I don't like straight tequila, but I have a bottle of mezcal literally right there, and it's some of the best stuff I've ever had in my life. It's amazing. It's a barrel-aged mezcal, and it's
I've had some añejo tequila that's just it tastes like a scotch sometimes.
Right. But yeah, mushrooms are the one thing, conscious or not conscious, to them being included in a meal. Okay? I'm talking about, I ordered a burger one time. Nowhere on the description of the burger and the ingredients list, and this was a fairly decent restaurant. Think of like a half step above a Chili's or something like that, where it's Red Robin or whatever. Half step above that, where the burgers are $16, but you get a burger. Like it was kind of that kind of place. Nowhere, artisan burgers. Nowhere in the description did it mention mushroom. I read it through like 4 times, and I'm like, that sounds delish. I'll take that. And ordered the burger, and I'm out to lunch with a bunch of my colleagues and a couple of CEOs and things like that. We all get our plates. I pick up the burger, I look around it, and I go, that looks great. It was like this half-pound patty and pepper jack cheese and barbecue sauce. I think it had Swiss on there as well. It was lettuce and onions and peppers. And it was a good burger. I took a bite and took a couple of chews, and immediately my gag reflex hit. And I went, there's mushrooms in this burger.
Yeah.
It wasn't even taste. It was texture hitting the top of my mouth.
That's what most people who don't like it, that's a texture thing. They usually say they don't like the texture. Yeah.
The texture hit the top of my mouth, and I literally almost vomited on the table. Like I had to suppress, actually was dry heaving slightly, and had to suppress what was going to happen in front of all these people. Managed to get that one bite to actually go down, and had to flag down the waitress and go, this was not supposed to have mushrooms on it. Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't. And I'm not someone who sends things back to the kitchen often. Right. You put relish on a burger, I will begrudgingly eat it. I will rue your day to the end of time, but I will still eat the burger. You put mushrooms on a burger?
No.
I'm out.
To the ground.
Tap out.
To the ground.
Tap out. Yep.
Yeah, no, I won't. I love mushrooms. Even if something came with beets, I'll still eat it. I haven't found anything I will absolutely positively reject.
Hops wants to know, what about truffle sauce or flavors? I actually don't mind the taste of like mushroom soup. Mushroom soup is great. You pour it over a steak, you do this, you put it on mashed potatoes. I think it's fine. And in fact, there's a restaurant that we like to go to that has some lettuce wraps, and it comes with this like, it's an Asian restaurant. It's kind of like a paste that you put onto lettuce and then you eat it, kind of like,
oh yeah,
Asian tacos. Yeah. Sorry to any Asian viewers. Anyway, lettuce wraps, and there's like this dish that you dish onto the leaf lettuce, and then you eat that, and it's delicious. One of the ingredients is finely diced mushrooms. I really don't mind it, but it's so well balanced within that meal. It's not a slice of a mushroom.
Right, and that texture's gone because
it's so finely diced. And again, I don't mind the taste of mushrooms. It's entirely the texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got the chat going with food now. They're going nuts. Sriracha, goujing, chipotle, all this stuff. Oh man.
Damn it! I'm on a diet and I've been doing very well on my diet. But man, I want to go upstairs and make some pizza rolls right now. All of a sudden, I'm in that mood. Like I want to air fry something.
I got like last year I got a pizza oven, like the Uni pizza ovens, and I've been trying to perfect the pizza crust because that's the hardest part. It honestly is the hardest part. Like toppings is easy. Toppings is easy. Yeah, getting the crust just right is so hard.
I will one up you in that. Was it last year? Maybe even the year before. It might have been 2020, late 2020. We bought a combination toaster oven air fryer.
Oh, nice.
It is freaking amazing. It's deep enough to put a small pizza on, like a 12-inch pizza. It's about a 12 by 12 footprint.
Oh yeah, sure.
And so if you make a 12-inch pizza, you can cook the whole pizza inside of there. And in fact, it has a setting specifically for cooking pizzas. It works amazingly as a toaster. I am full on team toaster oven over standard toaster.
Oh, absolutely.
If you don't have a toaster oven, you're just not living. Oh, I'm sorry.
We had a toaster oven, but we had to get rid of it because of space. But yes, I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
That I think the toaster oven is superior. In fact, I would get rid of my microwave for a toaster oven. I think those are way better.
Yes. The only reason we still have a microwave is it's mounted above the stove. It's off the counter.
Us too. Yes.
And so,
us too. Yes.
Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have a microwave. We have an air popper for popcorn. The only thing we use the microwave for is occasionally when the kids want a snack, we do have some microwave popcorn. We'll boil water sometimes, but I've also got a kettle now. Thank you, Ian Cuttress. He goes, why do no Americans own kettles? And it's like, you know what? My wife's been asking for a kettle. So I bought her one for her birthday. And now we have a kettle and we love it.
I have a kettle too. I use it to make my French press coffee every morning.
Yeah, and that's what I switched to at the same time. Because we had a Keurig and we had a couple other things. And I went, screw it. Here's a $12 French press. Like, why am I doing the whole compacted in the Keurig as if you're making espresso and then you get watered down coffee?
Yeah, and French press tastes so much better. It tastes so much better.
Yeah,
so much better.
No, I love my French press. But yeah, so Ian Cuttress was the spur that I needed to go just go buy a freaking kettle.
Yeah, they're not expensive.
Right. So, but yeah, and occasionally if we're really rushed for dinner, we'll do a veggie in there. We have some of the steam pack vegetable things. They come in bags. You literally just put the bag in the microwave and hit 4 minutes on it, and then you have fresh steamed broccoli. Sure.
Yeah,
right.
That's good.
Right. Other than that,
they'll beat a cheese on it. You're good.
Other than that, we don't use the microwave for anything.
Yeah, no. Heating water sometimes, or thawing things out if it needs to be thawed out. I'll do that, but. Yeah, for the most part, I don't really like it. The microwave is just not. It cooks things funny. It always makes the burrito molten lava. I just don't like them.
Yeah, yeah, and even reheating food, if I can, if we have pasta or rice or chicken or something, I'll throw it in a pan and re-sear it or warm it back up.
Absolutely, that is the best way to do it. That's what I'm doing now too.
It
tastes so much better. And it doesn't take that long. I mean, it takes it makes a little bit longer, but I mean, it's still, it tastes better. You're right. Absolutely right.
Yep.
I've been reheating like pizza. I used to eat leftover pizza cold, All right, throw it in the microwave. Now, I will reheat it on a pan, and then I'll cover it so the heat stays trapped in and melts the cheese on top. But because it's in a pan, and usually because pizza's kind of a little greasy already, the grease on the bottom will crisp it up at the bottom, so you get a little crunchy.
Yes.
Sometimes it's better the second time.
Yes. So, one of my oldest daughter, one of Mrs. favorite, like, I feel like getting fat today, is we will get a Little Caesars deep dish pizza. And it's like $13, and it's two 12-inch square pizzas is what you end up with. And but we get the 3-meat treat. And so it's sausage, pepperoni, and hamburger. And it's great. And you get home, and it's all gooey and melty and whatnot. Oh, it's delicious. When you put it back into my toaster oven / air fryer, and you turn on the air fryer function, and it crisps up the bottom just a little bit more. And it gets the mozzarella on top super gooey. And,
it's so much better the second time.
Chef kiss.
It's like I almost look forward to the leftovers at that point.
And by the way, I am so a fan of cold pizza. You get me some cold Papa's Pizza or Papa Murphy's or even Domino's, like, I'm in heaven. Like, that is my hangover cure to the extreme on Saturday mornings. Like Hawaiian with sausage on top. Like, that's my, like, I'm alive still. That's that meal. The Little Caesars deep dish, second time through the air fryer. Oh God, it changed my life. There's no other way to say it.
So Jeff, so you like burgers and you like pizzas, right? So there's a place, I don't know if you've been there. It's in Cascade Locks.
Yes.
It's a tap house.
Yes, I know the tap house you're talking about.
Okay, so I ate this thing and it was absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
It's a giant burger, but instead of buns, it's 2 pepperoni pizzas.
Yes.
So it's pepperoni pizza, hamburgers with all the toppings, and then a pepperoni pizza.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
So around here, we'll probably end with this because we just hit the 2-hour mark. Around here, there used to be a very small chain called Wow Burger. In fact, I think I took you to a Wow Burger one time.
We did, and they were good. I really liked them. Yes,
phenomenal. They ended around 2019 when the parent company literally went bankrupt overnight and just put chains over the front of the doors. So employees showed up to work on Tuesday morning and couldn't get in. It was kind of a sad time. It was because it was a phenomenal place. They had
good burgers,
amazing burgers, and well priced, like less than you would pay at Red Robin for like half-pound like teriyaki burgers with Spam and pineapple, and a rancher burger with like an over easy egg on top, and like so good. Anyway, this last year we finally decided to go in with a family friend of ours. They raise cows, and we got a half a cow, and most of the cow we turned into hamburger because we eat a lot of hamburger around here. Whether it's spaghetti or whether it's meatloaf or whether it's whatever else. We also do burgers, and I've got a Traeger. And so what I'm about to tell you will change your life. Okay? Instead of getting the regular grocery store, Walmart, Safeway, whatever, sesame seed flat buns, like you all know the buns that you get at every barbecue you've ever been to.
Oh yeah.
Go and get a Franz bagel. Go get a bagel. Toast the bagel and put a Traeger burger on that. It will change your life.
I've been avoiding, like, the last couple of burgers we made at home. We don't get the store-bought buns.
Yeah.
Well, they're store-bought, but we don't get the typical ones, not the like 99 cents Franz or whatever. We'll get the pretzel buns. The pretzel buns are excellent burger buns. Those are so good. I have not tried a bagel, but I would like to try one.
Just go grab like your standard like Franz bagel.
No. I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna get a cheese jalapeno bagel. I'm gonna use that to make my burger because that sounds amazing to me right now.
Yeah, and you know how I do my burgers. So I do the Traeger smoked burger. Usually it's a quarter or a third pound, depending on how many we're making. I will do the bagel for the bun, toast it. You do one strip of bacon, snap it in half, put it crisscross, so you got one piece of bacon on it. Not overbearing, but it's there. Ranch and Sweet Baby Ray's and lettuce and onion. That is my ideal burger.
Now the ranch powder in the burger, or
nope, just on top. Just take a little bit of ranch and just a dollop of ranch on top and a little dollop of barbecue sauce on top.
We had this discussion on the Discord about ranch, particularly how I do not like. I mean, I like ranch, but I don't like the bottled ranch, because real ranch, once you have real homemade ranch, it's amazing. Yes. Because you have to put fresh buttermilk and sour cream and stuff in there, all that fresh dairy. They have to make all the dairy they put in that shelf stable, and all those preservatives and ingredients. It just changes the flavor of it. And I can't.
You are right. It is very drastically different from homemade ranch, which is like sour cream based and whatnot. It is completely different. You can use either, but the tangy ranch with the like. We use Sweet Baby Ray's for barbecue sauce.
The sweetness,
yeah, and not a lot of each. Like, you don't need to it's not oozing out. Literally just like a quarter-sized dollop, and then you kind of just spread it over the top, and then you do that again with the barbecue sauce. And that with your regular burger toppings. You got your lettuce, your onion, your peppers, your whatever else. And Novella Hub chimes in with a fried egg too. Oh, you better believe it if I'm feeling adventurous.
Burger. Fried egg on a burger is amazing.
Yeah,
it's blown me away. I still remember I was on a business trip to Texas, and we were having burgers there. It was and I asked them about putting a fried egg on a burger, and they thought I was weird. They're like, no, you have to try this. You have to try this.
It's the best thing ever.
It's the best thing. And the guy was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'm an adventurous eater. The guy, like, about a month later, like, emailed me, and he's like, Steve, I gotta tell you, I went back and we did a home barbecue, and I put a fried egg on my burger, and everybody thought it was weird, but man, was it great, and everybody loved it. It was the best thing ever. It's like, it really is. I thought everybody liked fried eggs on burgers.
Right. I thought it was a regular thing, and apparently it's this very niche thing.
I'm like, dude, fried eggs on burgers is amazing.
Right, like, you obviously haven't experimented with burger craft if you've never had a fried egg on a burger. Like, but like I said, I'm very much a burger lover. Like hot dogs, I can take them or leave them. Ribs, I like a good rack, but they're not my favorite. Brisket, it's delicious, but you get me the best barbecue burger that's out there, or you Traeger smoke one, and I get to make it exactly the way I want. Nothing touches it. Nothing.
Absolutely.
Maybe try it.
We got one quick super chat here.
Alice with $2. Would you try Kopi Luwak coffee? Sure. I actually don't know what that is.
Is that the poop coffee? The meerkat, or not meerkat? Some kind of like marsupial coffee where they poop out the I think that's what it is. Where they
partially digested cherries.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
I would try it. I would totally try it.
Why not? I mean, I don't like pickles, so as long as the marsupials hadn't eaten pickles lately, I'm probably game.
It's a pickled coffee. Pickled in some animal's gut. But yeah. No, I would totally try it. I mean, just for the novelty of it. Absolutely.
And on that note, I think that's going to do it for us here on episode 249 of Talking Heads. Sounds like Jeff will start a third channel for food. No, that's the fourth channel after my car channel. If that ever works out. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to Craft Extra and get clips of this episode direct to your notifications every single day. Join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m., 6 p.m. Pacific time. Excuse me, I almost said the wrong time. 6 p.m. Pacific time, the old time, not the new time. New time, 6 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. That script is so ingrained, I literally corrected myself to uncorrect myself.
Yeah.
Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. As always, I'm Jeff.
Food.
He's Steve.
And I'm Steve.
And some food will make you hungry at the worst possible hour on every continent, guaranteed. And as always, we'll see you next Wednesday.
See you guys. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.